What's good, everybody? What's good? It's your boy Cardinal Red, and we're back for another one. George Kambosos, he whooped that boy, didn't he? Hey, let me check the audio real fast, make sure everything's working. What's good with everybody? What's good? Make sure everything's up. Alright, everything's working. What's good with everybody? George Kambosos, what it do? Hey, okay, man. So, big fight, man. Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos. What an outcome! What a first round! I can't do nothing but salute George Kambosos and what he was able to accomplish. I want to get into the whole fight, and I want to speak on why I feel like George Kambosos is a better fighter and is proven why he's a better fighter than Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. All right, so let's talk about the fight first, and then I'll get into why I feel like he's better than Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. I know a lot of people ain't gonna like that, but it is what it is, man. To me, it is what it is. So the fight, I've been following George Kambosos for a while, man. I follow him on Instagram. I watch his training videos. I watch when he posts stuff. He posts a lot about his family. Yeah, get them likes up, man, for me so we can get some people in here, bro. I appreciate that. Drop me some comments. Let me know who's in here. Very likable guy, George Kambosos. But I've been following for him for a while. If you're a Pacquiao fan, I'm pretty sure you know who George Kambosos is because Pacquiao sparred him many times in preparation for many fights. So I was well aware of. Okay, we got some comments. I'm gonna get to them in a second. I was well aware of who George Kambosos was. I've seen him fight a couple of times before, and I was expecting him to come out guns a blazing. And what I got was the most calm, the most focused, just an amazing fight from George Kambosos. It was nothing like what I expected. I expected him to come out and really be trying to knock Teofimo out. And I was basing that solely off of, this guy's been sitting around for 4, 5, 6, 7 months, waiting for this fight to happen. And he finally got what he wanted, and he got in the ring, and he showed and he proved, man. He showed and he proved. And that's why I'm putting him a notch above some of these young fighters. But it was an amazing fight. George Kambosos came out and did exactly what a fighter is supposed to do. You're supposed to go into a fight with a game plan and stick to the game plan. There was one round where George Kambosos, I think he got a little too excited and he wanted to go for the knockout, and Teofimo ended up knocking him down, which could have really cost him in the fight. But he remained calm. He remained with the game plan. He followed the game plan. He boxed beautifully, like Sean Porter would say, and the man got what he deserved. A lot of times in boxing, people get cheated when it comes to them scorecards and the champion getting the nod, but we got exactly what we were supposed to in that fight, man. George Kambosos did what he was supposed to do. The judges saw it the way the fight played out, and he got the victory, the big victory for George Kambosos. If you are a Pacquiao fan, man, this shouldn't do anything but make you excited about the future of the fighters that surrounded themselves with Manny Pacquiao, and the fact that those guys will be making a splash here in the next few years in the sport of boxing. This was a huge fight, man. I was so excited and so hyped for George Kambosos when he finally got the judges cards and the victory and all the belts. I've been saying for a long time, Teofimo Lopez, I'm not taking anything away from him as a fighter. I'm not saying he's not a good fighter. I just feel like the Vasily Lomachenko fight, because Lomachenko was hurt, that fight was a fluke, and he should have gave Lomachenko an immediate rematch. And he might just have beaten Lomachenko again, but what he would have did was silenced all the critics. And he, instead of doing that, he sat around and waited and waited and waited. And like I told y'all a couple of lives ago, that the pandemic in the world is really hurting a lot of people's careers, because people are sitting around and waiting instead of staying active. The only person I can say who's been active the whole time, and I don't know how he's pulled this off, has been Canelo. Canelo has not stopped fighting since the whole pandemic kicked off. But a lot of other guys have taken 8, 9, 10, 11 months off from the sport. And when they made their comeback, they're not in the shape that they was when they left. And their legs are not there. And they're getting beat by what people think are fighters that shouldn't beat them. But if you know George Kambosos, you know why I was so hyped about him and why I've been saying that he is the guy who's going to prove that Teofimo Lopez is a fluke. And he went in there and did exactly what I thought he was going to do, and in better fashion than what I thought he would do. That fight was completely perfect from beginning to end. What he said he was going to do, he did it. He said, man, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do like Ali said, and I'm going to throw the biggest, loudest, hardest punch I possibly can. I'm going to put this guy on his butt, and I'm going to teach him a lesson in the first round. And that's exactly what he did. He went in there, taught Teofimo Lopez a lesson in the first round. And you could tell Teofimo was stunned from the first round. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't figure George Kambosos out. You know, maybe by the 10th or 11th round, when Kambosos started slowing down a little bit, he did start to land some better shots. But Teofimo, from round 1 to round 10, could not figure Kambosos out. And that knockdown was kind of like a lucky punch he ended up landing, because he was just in there trying to throw haymakers from the beginning. And it's been a long time since I've seen a champion beaten up in that fashion. And that's what I'm saying about George Kambosos is a different type of fighter than Terence Crawford or Errol Spence Jr. George Kambosos is going in there to fight his opponent, not just to get a victory. He's going in there to put on a show and to fight his opponent, and that's what he did, man. Y'all see Teofimo Lopez's face at the end of that fight. When's the last time you seen a Terence Crawford or Errol Spence opponent look like that? Look that bad after a fight with one of them. You know, Teofimo Lopez is a great fighter, but the Vasyl Lomachenko fight was a fluke, you know, and this is what I say about boxers all the time. Injuries happen in sports, man. Injuries happen in sports. Sports injuries are supposed to happen. The only thing about boxing is it's hard to back out of a boxing event when you're that close to the event. It's hard to back out. So when guys get hurt, they just got to go in there and fight. Now, your favorite fighter might fight hurt and lose, but that doesn't take anything away from your favorite fighter. He just, hey, it wasn't his day. He was hurt. He deserves a rematch. Vasyl Lomachenko deserved a rematch. And I think because Teofimo Lopez refused to give him his rematch, that kind of came back and bit him in the butt. You know, we might not have got the Kambosos Lopez fight if he would have rematched Vasyl Lomachenko. But hey, we reap what we sow sometimes. And I think Teofimo's really reaping what he sowed out of that fight, man. He was doing all the trash talk. George Kambosos was focused, man. I've never seen a fighter so focused, going through so many months of camp and then coming out and looking that spectacular. That's what a fighter is supposed to do. Unfortunately for a guy like Manny Pacquiao, he didn't have all the time to focus solely on fighting. So when he went through all those months of camp, he didn't come out on the winning end, where Kambosos was strictly focused on fighting and fighting alone. And you see what happens when you focus for that many months strictly on fighting, man. You get the perfect fighter, and that's what he was, man. And it'll probably be hard for him to ever top that performance, but wow, what a performance, and what a way to shock the world, and what a way to earn all of those titles. I don't feel like Teofimo Lopez earned all those titles in the way George Kambosos earned all those titles. George Kambosos Kambosos got exactly what he deserved, man, and and I can't do nothing but tip my hat, salute to George Kambosos. What a victory, man! All right, let me get into the comments real fast. See what y'all saying. I appreciate everybody for coming through. Got 8 people in here. Can I get 8 likes from y'all, please, please, please? Trying to build the channel back up. Y'all like the new look of things, man? I've been here working, man. I've been working, man. Sweating, working for y'all, man. Trying to give y'all a nice look. Trying to give y'all better camera quality, better audio, and all around better live, man. So I appreciate all the likes I can get out of that. I ain't asking you to donate, but please, the likes mean something. All right, so Ryan Lamb says Teofimo is inferior. Yeah, you listen, he's a good fighter, man. I'm not trying to take anything away from Teofimo. I just think the fact that he got all those belts off an injured Vasyl Lomachenko and refused to give him a rematch, that was what made me feel like he was a fluke from the beginning. What made me feel like, okay, maybe there was something going on behind the scenes with Vasyl that Teofimo Lopez knew about and that he took advantage of, and that's why he's refusing to give him that rematch. So, hey, that's what I went off of, man. All right, let's see what y'all say. TJ Carter, I should have bet on George. Man, you know what? What's crazy, man? I was thinking that the whole time, like, man, why don't I know he's gonna win. I know he's gonna win. Why am I not betting? And I'm Muslim, so we're not supposed to bet and stuff. So, I went with my religious thoughts over my over my financial thoughts, man. So I ain't getting no money off of this. I know next time I got a sure thing. I'm not. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I gotta get this money. I gotta get this money. Uh, all right. Tycho TV says Kambosos ain't all that. He just beat the worst possible version of Teofimo. I don't know, bro. George Kambosos is 9-0, and George Kambosos beat the guy. Everybody, listen. We can't take anything away from Kambosos, man. Listen. Teofimo Lopez beat Vasyl Lomachenko, who everybody was calling the best fighter in the world at that moment. They was even ranking him either equal or higher than Canelo Alvarez. Now, listen to what I said. They were either ranking Vasyl equal or above Canelo Alvarez at that time when Teofimo Lopez beat him. So Teofimo Lopez got a lot of praise for beating Vasyl Lomachenko. And Teofimo Lopez is a big fish in the pond. No matter whether I think that he beat Vasyl on a fluke or not, that is a huge accomplishment for a guy who nobody knew. Virtually most of the world doesn't know who George Kambosos is. And for him to go in there and beat the guy who beat Vasyl Lomachenko is a huge accomplishment. So I would never, ever, ever say what George Kambosos did he didn't deserve, or I would never, ever say that he's not a great fighter. He put up a perfect fight, and he beat a good fighter and a great fighter in Teofimo Lopez. Let's just be honest about that. Loma versus Kambosos. It's going to be a great fight. Believe me. Teofimo missed out on a golden opportunity because Teofimo could have got introduced to a whole nother audience. Those people over in Russia, they love Vasyl Lomachenko, and that could have been a whole new audience for Teofimo Lopez. And I think he passed up a golden. I mean, the people over there know who he is because he's the one who beat Vasyl. But I think if he would have rematched him, then he would have got and beaten him again. I think he would have got a chunk of that audience that would have rolled with him. But hey, it's all on George Kambosos now, because Kambosos is the type of guy who, I mean, unless there's a rematch clause and he goes ahead and fights Teofimo first over in Australia, like he said he was, which I I don't know. I had to look it up and see if there's a rematch clause, but you might see the Vasil fight first over there in Australia. And what a huge event. You talk about 60, 70, 80,000 fans that, Australians, they pack the stadiums, man. And they have huge soccer stadiums over there. So it's going to be interesting to see who he actually decides to pick. I think Vasil Lomachenko is a bigger fight than the Teofimo Lopez rematch because Vasil comes with a whole country where Teofimo has a just like the Mexican fan base and the Mexican American fan base. Let's not take nothing away from George Kambosos. I'm about to call him George Lopez like the announcers did. All right, let's move on into the comments, which are saying Tio had that what the F look on his face when he got floored. Definitely. He definitely looked like he didn't expect George Kambosos to be anything. Like he expected just to walk in there and kind of bully George Kambosos around. And I don't think listen, from the moment I saw them face off for the first time, like 10 months ago, I knew George Kambosos was going to win. I never realized how short Teofimo Lopez was. And I'm like, George Kambosos is more talented than Teofimo. He sticks to the game plan. He's a better focused boxer. And he's a bigger boxer than Teofimo. I think Teofimo's going to get really surprised in this fight. And when I saw him face off for the last time, I'm like, yeah, just the way Kambosos was looking at Lopez, the disrespect that Lopez had for Kambosos, it was written all over Kambosos' face, and you could tell he was gonna go in there and do damage, man, and really show and prove to the boxing world he is that man. So hey, man, salute to George. Let's go, George! Salute to George Kambosos, boy. Let's go, George! All right, so let me see. What y'all saying? Teofimo didn't train or spar with anyone in prep for this fight. He wrote dude off and paid the price. Hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard. Exactly. Couldn't have said. Let me repeat that. Hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard. Exactly, man. You could be as talented as you want to, but at the end of the day, man, you got to put in the work. And they made George Kambosos wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And what they did was they took a good fighter and they turned a good fighter into a determined, pissed off, great fighter. And man, it's amazing to see, man. That right there it reinvigorated me as a boxing fan. I had lost some luster as a boxing fan when Pacquiao finally retired. And I'm like, man, what do I do now? Who do I talk about? I don't really like a lot of these other fighters. What direction I go in? And I was leaning on this fight. I'm like, okay, George Kambosos is going to come through for your boy. George Kambosos is where I'm putting all my bargaining chips in. If this fight goes the way I want, then I'm riding with George Kambosos, and I'm gonna start a new wave of picking my favorite fighters and who I think the future of boxing is going to be, and that's who my channel is going to be focused on from now on. We're still gonna do Pacquiao content, but we're gonna go in a new direction from here on out, man. So let's go, George, man. Let's go, George. Let's see what y'all saying. Tycoon TV says his corner advice was horrible as totally total disaster. I mean, his father shouldn't be in his corner. I don't think his father is the right kind of. If Teofimo Lopez had Freddie Roach in his corner that night, I think it would have been a different fight. I think George Kambosos still could have beaten him. But I think Freddie Roach would have had Teofimo more prepared because Freddie Roach don't play that ish. You either gonna work Freddie's way or Freddie's not working with you. So I think if he had a guy like Freddie Roach backing him, the fight would have went in a different direction. But he didn't. the fight went the way it was supposed to go. The fight went the way, and the better guy won. You know, let's give George Kambosos his proper flowers while he's on top, man. You know, stop trying to praise people after they're gone, man. You know, after they get beat or after they're out of the sport. George Kambosos deserves it all right now, man. He really deserves to be praised for what he accomplished. And Teofimo, you know, he just got to rebuild, man. He got to come back and try to rebuild. Maybe he does what he said and go ahead and moves up in weight. Maybe he goes ahead and moves up to 147 and maybe challenges a Crawford or a Spence at some point. So, you know, let's go, George, man. All right, man. Let's move on. Let me see what y'all saying. What y'all saying? Uh, Tio, Tio, that fought L.A. and Tio that fought Kambosos. Okay, I guess you were trying to say Tio that fought Vasil and Tio that fought Kambosos was two different fighters. I don't know. I think it was the same fighter. I think Kambosos is just that man. I think that should show you how off Vasil was. You know, something was wrong with Vasil in that fight. And I think there was nothing wrong with Kambosos in his fight. And he proved that, you know, Teofimo is a good fighter, but Teofimo isn't as great as they tried to make him seem like he was when he beat Vasil. I still feel like Vasil Lomachenko was hurt and he deserved his rematch. And, you know, George Kambosos proved that, you know, and a healthy Vasil Lomachenko might have actually beat Teofimo Lopez. I'm just saying. Tio looked confused all fight. Definitely, I don't think his father should have been training him. I don't think his father is the right guy to train Teofimo. I don't think his father has that much training talent, and I think their whole camp kind of got exposed. I think there might even be a section of people out there who are going to say Teofimo took a dive because of all his family trouble, and he's been saying he wanted to drop those belts anyway. So maybe he just took a check and said, "Hey, forget those belts. I'm moving up anyway." You might even have a subset of people who roll with that as their excuse for why he lost. Okay, let's move on. Kambosos is a good friend. Is good friends with Hearn, and is leaning towards fighting Haney next. I heard him say that. Teofimo is acting like he wanted Haney next, but that ain't happening now. At Ryan, that's a fact. He was not there. Ben Israel says, "Shalom, Red. It's a man down today, tomorrow, and forever." Shalom, bro. Salam to you, bro. I appreciate it, bro. Good hearing from you. He says, Devin the Nightmare Haney versus George Kambosos, true undisputed. I mean, we already got an undisputed. What you mean, true? Well, hold on. There is one more belt out there, ain't it? I forgot Devin Haney does have a belt, don't he? So Teofimo had all the belts except for one. So I forgot about that. I forgot that because they were always saying that he wasn't the real undisputed because there was still one more belt out there. I had forgotten about that. Facts. Red, if you're riding with George, you riding going to be sure. I don't know, man. George Kambosos, hey, a lot of people wouldn't have said Teofimo, Devin Haney would have beaten Teofimo. So, man, y'all got to give George Kambosos some more credit, man. I think y'all sleeping on Kambosos, man. Hey, I'm just saying. What's good, Tycho TV? Fire, fire. Tycho TV, Ben Israel. That's right. That ride will be short, bro. The whole division looking at dude like food. But hey, I'm saying Teofimo was looking at him like lunch meat, and he the one who got chewed up. I think that's the wrong attitude to approach George Kambosos with, man. I don't think he's hey, I think a lot of people should be on notice themselves that he was able to pull that off in the fashion he was able to pull it off in. And he can only get better from here on out. Man, this is an undefeated fighter we talking about here. This is not somebody who that was good at one point and then got beat a couple of times and is trying to make a comeback. No, we talking about an undefeated fighter who everybody slept on, who now has all those belts and a chip on his shoulder. So you're only going to see this guy get better. I don't think you're going to see him, his talent degrade in any way when whoever he decides to pick fight next. And I think you're going to see an even more determined version of George Kambosos than you saw fight Teofimo. Bill Floyd, Bob, Oscar, and me. I want to fight Kambosos. Tycho TV. You're not understanding how undisputed and undisturbed Tio was. I understand he had a lot going on, but like I said, that it might be a situation that there's an excuse that's gonna come out of this that he did that on purpose. I don't accept that. The fact he got dropped, the fact that his face looked the way he did, says a lot about Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos and the type of fight he fought. Man, he put on an amazing fight. Let's not take nothing away from George Kambosos. He put on an amazing performance. It was stunning to watch it unfold. It was stunning. And I think the only flaw I saw in George Kambosos was he gassed himself out a little bit in those later rounds. See what y'all saying in the chat. I got a couple of news. You not under. Okay, I read that one. He never made the excuse. If you follow boxing, you can see the problems. Hey, he initially tried to lead with an excuse. Oh man, y'all know I won. The judges, y'all saw me win 10 rounds. Come on, man, get real. Get real. Teofimo beat Teofimo. That's how I got it. Why you don't want to give George Kambosos no credit, man? Give Kambosos his credit, man. He did the impossible. He did what people thought was completely impossible. And he not only did it, like, he didn't do it luckily. He beat the ish out of Teofimo Lopez for 12 rounds straight. He beat Teofimo like his daddy should have. Straight up. That's denial, not excuses. That's the same thing. A denial can be an excuse, and an excuse can be a denial. It's the same thing. It kind of cancels itself out. Listen, bro, after his next fight, we will talk. Ain't no beef, Tycho TV. Ain't no beef, bro. Ain't no beef. But listen, give Kambosos his credit, man. He beat the crap out of Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez looked like an amateur at the end of that fight, and George Kambosos looked like the guy who should have been a 50-1, who should have had 50-1 odds. Let's just be real about it. We can't take nothing away from Kambosos at all. Kambosos Give that man his flowers, yeah. And like Israel, give that man his flowers, bro. He just accomplished the impossible. Like, come on, bro. Let's be real. This is boxing, man. That's what he did was in the eyes of boxing analysts was completely impossible. Completely impossible, bro. Come on, man. Not at all. Excuses and denial are very different. Man, no, no, sir. No, sir. Those are the same thing. An excuse can be a denial of something, whoa, and a denial can be an excuse of something. Man, I had to take a break for a second, man. Give me a break hold on, y'all. I'll be right back. I'm getting tongue tied.
Negative, okay, nothing further.
All that seems to be on my mind is hers. All that seems to be on my mind is hers, man.
Negative, okay, nothing further.
All that seems to be on my mind is hers. All that seems to be on my mind is hers, man. I just
My bad, y'all. Y'all ever feel like you got to sneeze? Feel like you got to sneeze, but it won't come out, and then it was making me like feel real like tongue tied out for some reason. So I had to stop for a second, man. I still couldn't get the sneeze. I ain't want to sneeze all over the camera. But what I was saying is, listen, man. Let's just be real, man. Give George Kambosos his credit, man. He deserves all the credit in the world. No boxing analyst out there would have said he was going to win that fight, and nobody would have said he was going to do it in the fashion that he did it in, man. Denial is not accepting what happened. An excuse is giving a reason for what happened. I mean, you're doing apples and oranges at this point, man. Just be real, man. Just be real. Kambosos did the impossible, because if Teofimo would have beat Kambosos in the way Kambosos beat Teofimo, nobody would be denying that Kambosos got the crap beat out of him. Nobody would be denying that Kambosos got the crap beat out of him. Everybody would be saying, hey, Teofimo did exactly what he was supposed to do. Look at Kambosos' face after the fight, show and prove, and that's what he did. So why isn't it an excuse when it's in Kambosos' favor? I don't understand that. Come on, bro. I can't believe you. Man, that's boy. That's just petty to me, man. And no disrespect to you, fam, but I feel like that's a little petty, man. That's a little petty to say that Kambosos, if that was Teofimo doing that to Kambosos, there's no way anybody would deny that the Teofimo deserves all the accolades after that fight. So I think that's just a little petty, bro. I'm guessing that you bet some money on Teofimo and lost. Let's just be real, man. I think you bet some money and lost, bro. Hey, Kambosos just showed improved, man. Give the man his no cap, bro. Give the man his credit, man. Give him his flowers, bro. That man beat the crap out of Teofimo. He literally beat the crap out of Teofimo. And I was expecting, when he knocked him down, I'm like, okay, he's going to win the fight. But I didn't expect him to beat Teofimo up in the way that he beat him up. He was able to bully Teofimo Lopez to where everybody thought it was going to be the other way around. Nah, I don't bet money. I'm just joking with you, Tycho, man. I don't know you personally, so I wouldn't put that on you, bro. But it's just a joke, man. It's just a joke, fam. But definitely, man. Just give him a little bit of credit, just for the victory, man. Just a little bit of credit, like, hey, okay, I agree that he beat the odds. You know, he beat the odds. If you would have a bet, it would have been on Kambosos because of the odds. I mean, I would have bet on Kambosos just because I like Kambosos, but personally. But I mean, I could have bet $1 and made a gazillion, a stupid amount of money if I'd have bet on that fight. But like I said, because of religious reasons, I usually don't bet on stuff. But if I ever have a sure thing like that again, you best believe I'm definitely gonna get me some money. I gotta get this money. Let's see what you said. Ben says undisputed. Definitely, man. Definitely give that man his just due. Okay, I read that. I feel like you love Pacquiao so much, it's spilling over to his old sparring partner, 100. What's wrong with that, bro? He won the fight. It's like, okay, you almost approaching it like he almost won, but they still gave the victory to Teofimo. He won the fight. So, I mean, I have a reason to be excited for George Kambosos. And I think George Kambosos deserves all these accolades because he won the fight. He won the fight, bro. Come on, man. George whooped his so bad his face saw Tio's face. Exactly. I mean, he looked like dude from what's the name of that movie? I can't even think of it. He looked like dude from Goonies. He had the Goonie face after that fight. He had the Goonie face, bro. Give Kambosos his credit, man. Teofimo got whooped, man. He got the brakes beat off of him. And Devin Haney and everybody else at 135 to 140 should be on alert. The only person I think gives Kambosos trouble is Josh Taylor. I don't think the rest of those guys give Kambosos any more trouble than Teofimo gave him. And I think if those guys don't come with a better way to beat George Kambosos, they are gonna get lumped up and get goonied up just like Teofimo did, because they're gonna approach Kambosos like they're just gonna walk through him, and that's a mistake. He's not a walk through fighter. That man got machine gun hands. Let's be honest. He got machine gun hands, man, and he beat the crap out of him. George whipped Teo ass so bad. He definitely did, man. It was embarrassing. Anybody who went there to see Teo win was embarrassed after that fight. It was a complete embarrassment. And if that was Teo doing that to George Kambosos, there's nobody in the world that wouldn't be saying, "Hey, Kambosos got embarrassed by a better fighter." And Kambosos is just an amateur, and he should have stayed in the amateur's place. Is what they should have been. That they would have been saying about Kambosos. But no, my friend, that's not what happened. Teo got whooped, and now everybody's saying, Teo, you underestimated an undefeated fighter who beat the crap out of you. Now what? Everybody else is on high alert now. Devin Haney is sitting back, biting his fingernails, wondering how do I beat this guy? I was worried about Teofimo Lopez, but now I got to think about George Kambosos. Now George Kambosos is the wall between you and all those belts. And how do you beat Kambosos? From what you saw in that fight, you tell me, how do you beat George Kambosos? How does Devin Haney beat George Kambosos? If Teofimo Lopez couldn't pull it off, who was supposed to be the bully of that division, he's the bully. He whooped Vasile. How does Devin Haney beat George Kambosos? I need somebody getting them type away, getting them comments and let me know. How does he win this fight? I think Josh Taylor gets with George Kambosos. I think Josh Taylor gives George Kambosos the work. But I think if Kambosos, if he takes a good path up to 140, takes a few more fights and builds himself up a little bit more, I think he can really give. Listen, this is a guy who was sparring with Manny Pacquiao, so there's nothing these guys can do that George Kambosos hasn't seen yet. There's nothing Devin Haney can do George Kambosos hasn't seen when he went up against Manny Pacquiao for 200 plus rounds. There's nothing Josh Taylor really can do that he hasn't seen when he went up against Manny Pacquiao for 200 plus rounds. So I'm putting a lot of bargaining chips on George Kambosos and what he's going to be able to accomplish with all those belts. I don't think this is a fluke. I don't think George Kambosos is a fluke. I think he did exactly what he was supposed to do. I think Teofimo is the fluke, and I think 130 to 140 is on alert. They're on machine gun hands alert. George Kambosos is now better known as G.I. Cambo. G.I. Cambo. Not G.I. Joe. He's better known as G.I. Cambo. That's George Kambosos. And the rest of you guys better y'all better get in the gym. This dude ain't playing. George Kambosos ain't playing. He's a throwback fighter. He's a throwback fighter, and he wants that smoke with everybody. Did you see the look on his face? Did that look like he was playing? Did he look like he was playing? Did he look like he was playing? All them licking their chops at Kambosos. Devin beat George with straight boxing skills. Kambosos not special. I don't think he's special. I don't think he's special in the way that we normally look at boxing. I don't think he does speed really well. I don't think he does. I don't think he does power punching at a special level. I don't think he has special feet to move around the ring. But what he does possess is a one-of-a-kind boxing IQ. And he put that boxing IQ on display. And his boxing IQ is so high and it's so one track on what he's supposed to do that it makes his boxing look spectacular. And he's not really doing anything spectacular at all. He just does what he's supposed to do extremely well. His boxing IQ. That's what, and you know, that's the it factor in boxing, really. When you do boxing really well, it's one thing to have really quick feet and be special and talented with your quick feet or with your quick hands. Or with your special defense or your power punching. This guy does boxing right, and I think if I had Teddy Atlas next to me right now, that's what he would be saying. This guy does boxing right. He does boxing right. He does boxing the right way. Y'all know how Teddy Atlas talk. He just does boxing right. He just does it right. He does it the right way. And that's what they're going to say. He does boxing the right way. George Kambosos, he sticks to his game plan, works off his jab. He moves like a boxer is supposed to move. And he beats the crap out of you without you realizing he's doing it. Because he does boxing right. He does it the right way. Let me see. Kambosos is a good fighter with fast hands. I can't wait to see him fight again. Congratulations. Thank you, Tycoon. Thank you, Tycoon TV. I appreciate that, bro. I give you all the credit in the world, brother, for saying that, man, because that's real talk, man. And you don't got to say he's better than Devin Haney. You don't got to say he's even better than Teofimo Lopez. You can say he got lucky. But at least congratulate the man for what he accomplished, man. I appreciate you, bro. I really do appreciate that, man. Thank you, brother. Ben says everyone at 135 licking their chops. Devin boxed him, and Tank straight murdered him. Don't be sold on him, Red. Watch. Right? Hey, I'm gonna hold you to that. Hey, we might actually have a one-on-one bet with each other. Nothing big, nothing spectacular. A little something, something enough to get you a little taste. Like Pops used to say, get you a little taste. We can do a one-on-one bet for a little taste. If I don't even drink, but you might drink, you might get you a little taste or something. Uh, but definitely, I think it depends on who he's gonna fight. If it's Devin Haney, then I think it's gonna be a war. If it's Devin Haney, if he decides to fight Tank Davis, it's going to be a war. It's going to be a war for Kambosos. These guys, like you said, they are licking their chops and they thinking this guy is a fluke, and this guy it's a mistake that he's now the number one guy in the division. But I think they're all wrong. I will say this. There is one fighter I'm a little afraid of for George Kambosos, and you just mentioned him, and it is Tank Davis. His punching power does worry me a little bit, because unlike Teofimo Lopez, I think Tank Davis will make contact with Kambosos, more earlier and more often than Teofimo was able to do. Can Kambosos take that power? I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think that is the one fight besides Josh Taylor I would be a little bit worried about. Ryan, I wouldn't be worried about Ryan Garcia. I wouldn't be worried about a Teofimo rematch. I wouldn't be worried about Vasil Lomachenko. I think he can beat all those guys. I really wouldn't even be worried about Devin Haney. Other than I think Haney can box really well, but I don't think it's boxing that beats Kambosos. I think it's punching power that would actually beat Kambosos. So I think the guys I would be really worried about would be more along the lines of Tank Davis and Josh Taylor. I think everybody else in the division, he after what I saw him do to Teofimo, the rest of those guys should be really worried, and they should hope that he decides to maybe fight one more time at 130 and move up. That's those guys' best bet, that he moves up, because he is a bigger guy. Y'all not understanding that factor. I thought Teofimo was one of the bigger guys at one, but it's actually Kambosos one of the bigger guys at 130. So hey, everybody got their opinion, and I can't wait for his next fight. It was spectacular, man. Nothing but praise and shouts out, and I hope George Kambosos see this, man, because you shocked the world, my friend. You are the real. You deserve this praise, my friend. And I'm taking nothing away from Teofimo. He got a lot of praise when he beat Vasil Lomachenko, and I felt like it was unwarranted. But I think what George Kambosos did is even greater than what Teofimo accomplished. And he deserves even more pats on the back, man. And I'm definitely going to be the guy to give it to him, man. Shouts out to you. Ben Israel, no red. I wanted that Pac-Man smoke, but he's retired. It would be interesting to see. Uh, 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 Just thought of something. So, what if Manny Pacquiao and George Kambosos fought for all those belts? What if Manny Pacquiao and George Kambosos fought and for all? What if Manny Pacquiao said, "I will come back. I'll fight you in the Philippines. I'll take one more fight, and I'll fight you at 135 for all of those belts." Y'all think Pacquiao? Y'all think Pacquiao just becomes? You think that's an easy road for Pacquiao to become a champion again? Tris 805, what's good, bro? I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Lambos for Cambos. Hey, man, you know, hey, because I don't think he was making a lot of money with it with his boxing career. I'm pretty sure he's getting a couple 100,000, but he just got launched into the million stratosphere. So what you said is exactly right, man. I appreciate I appreciate that super chat, man. I really do, man. Good seeing you, man. We definitely gonna be back on track here, man. What you think about the new setup? What y'all think about the new setup, man? I'm trying to make it right for y'all, man. Trying to make it right. So I need y'all support, man, to keep this rolling. Tris 805. I appreciate that, man. What y'all think? What y'all think about that? Y'all think Pacquiao could y'all think that's a possibility? Pacquiao comes back, fights George Kambosos for all those belts? I mean, that's a huge fight for George Kambosos. A huge fight for George Kambosos. That will put a lot of money in his pocket. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate you for coming through, man. Definitely. I'll definitely be back on here tomorrow again, too, man. I got a lot of topics I want to cover. Definitely got a lot of topics I want to cover. Let's go, George! Alright, man, I haven't been that hyped. I was trying to think about the last time I got that hyped for a fight. And you know what? I wasn't even that hyped. I wasn't even at that level of hypeness when Manny Pacquiao knocked Keith Thurman down, because I felt like it was going to happen. I just knew. I was so focused on him winning that fight. I don't think I ever really got super hyped during that fight. That George Kambosos fight, man, I almost jumped out my skin, bro. I could have flipped a city bus over there. If a city bus pulled down my block, I could have flipped it over that night, man, straight up. Israel says, stop with the Pac-Man narrative. Pac-Man done. I'm a Pac-Man fan, so I'm always gonna try to reincarnate the ghost of Pacquiao. Any way I can pull him back in, if there's any way I can bring him back in, I'm gonna bring him back. I'm gonna bring him back in, but listen. I do feel like this though. I feel like the George Kambosos Teofimo fight re-solidified my my fandom as a boxing fan. It made me feel like boxing. There's guys out here that still want to be boxing greats. There's guys out here that are still chasing greatness and not just money. You know, and I'm probably gonna end it here. George Kambosos, he wasn't fighting for money that night. I don't know if y'all realize, you know, that's what they mean about that eye of the tiger. You know, that focus, that laser focus that fighters have. George Kambosos had that written all over his face from the beginning of camp to the end of camp. He wasn't focused on money. He wasn't focused on fame. He wasn't focused on women. He was focused on becoming champion. And you know, more boxers today need to regain that focus, that eye of the tiger, that laser focus of I want to be a champion and I want to put on the best show for fans, because that's what we pay for. At the end of the day, you're there to entertain us and make us feel like, you know, our money wasn't wasted. It was worth the fight. It was worth paying all this money to get to see you fight. You know, it's a shame when you got superstars like Floyd Mayweather and superstars like Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford and all these other guys, and they're avoiding each other and they're not putting on the shows the fans want to see. Yet you're becoming millionaires overnight, and we're funding your $1 million lifestyle, and we're getting mediocrity in the boxing ring. You know, it's unfair. You know, the past 10 years of boxing has truly been unfair to boxing fans. Now, there is always a flip side to everything. It's been very fair to boxers, because for a long time, boxers were getting effed out of their money. And the one credit I will always give to Mayweather is he flipped it on its head. He took the money away from the promoter and forced them to start giving it back to the boxer. Unfortunately, I think the boxers have been taking a little advantage of that and using us fans and just rape. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to use that word. And just ripping us fans off for our money. You know, they basically they know there's nothing else to watch when it comes to boxing, and I'm considered the best guy out there. Who else you gonna watch? I'm forcing you to watch me, and I'm forcing you to pay an exorbitant amount to watch me fight garbage men. And I'm sick of that in the sport of boxing. I'm sick of that watching this crap in the sport of boxing. And George Kambosos and Teofimo Lopez proves that these guys, Teofimo Lopez could have easily just taken a knee and bowed out after his face started getting beat the F up. But he didn't. He continued to fight, and he continued to put on the show and tried to win that fight. And so I have to give him a warrior stamp as well. That he's a warrior, man. He put on a warrior show that warrior boxing fans want to see, man. So they've re-solidified my fandom, man, in the sport of boxing, and re-solidified me that I'm not just wasting my money and my time talking about boxers, because there's still some warriors and some guys out here that want to put on the best show possible, not just line their pockets. Now, I'm all for boxers making all the money they can as long as they're doing what they're supposed to do when it comes to entertaining fans. Don't go out there and run around the ring and then call that ish entertainment and expect me to give you $100 for a pay-per-view. That's completely ridiculous. And people got to stop paying for that crap, man. They got to stop supporting, because the more you support crap, the more crap they're going to keep giving us. So I'm done supporting crap. I will only be supporting fighters like Teofimo, like George Kambosos, like Canelo, like these guys who are definitely trying to give us the best shows possible. Whether you like Canelo or not, he goes out there and tries to give you the best show possible. Whether Canelo's on some type of performance enhancer or not, allegedly, he does go out there and try to give you the best performance possible. These are not Mayweather-style fighters. These are not Errol Spence, Terence Crawford style fighters. These guys are trying to put on the show. And you know what? I'm going to even tip my hat to Terence Crawford at this moment, because I will say Crawford's fights are more entertaining than Errol Spence Jr.'s fights. I will give him that. But I still think Spence beats him. But whose fight would I rather watch out of Errol Spence and Terence Crawford? It would be a Terence Crawford fight. Because Terence Crawford, even though I think he's fighting some the hill guys, he's getting the knockouts. Where Spence is not getting the knockouts. But I feel like that's why he beats Crawford, is because he fights in one style. But that's neither here nor there. This is about George Kambosos and giving George Kambosos his just due while he's here, man. While he's champion, while he deserves it, man. That was a hell of a fight, man. And in the great words of Teddy Atlas, he just does it, man. He does boxing right. He just does it right. he does what. Hey, Teddy Atlas is a fool, man. Hey, but he be right, sometimes. He just does boxing right, man. And I enjoy watching George Kambosos. He's definitely made me proud to be a boxing fan. For a long, I was getting to the point I wasn't proud to be a boxing fan no more. I was thinking about sliding over to the UFC side because they winning over there. But you know what, George Kambosos, he's definitely he's turning heads in the sport of boxing, man. And this should have been it shouldn't have taken for George Kambosos to be the one to do that. It should be Errol Spence and Terence Crawford that we're talking about. That should have been their war, that we're talking about. It should have been a Spence Crawford war that we're talking about. But I think the history books, they're in trouble of the history books passing them by and putting George Kambosos at the top of this generation. for the toughest, the most warrior style fighter out there today. If these guys don't stop playing around, it's not going to be them at the top. It's going to be Canelo. It's going to be George Kambosos. Then it's going to be Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. They're playing around with their legacy and their future by not giving us what we want as boxing fans, man. Let me check the comments one more time, and then I'm probably gonna get out here, bro. We got 11 people in here, man. Can I get 11 likes, man? Appreciate that, man. I appreciate it, man. Y'all know what it does for me, man. It helps the algorithm. We trying to launch this channel even bigger than we've ever been, man, in 2022, man. And definitely want to work with anybody who's willing to work, man. If we can make this bigger and you willing to work, man, come holler at me. Capsule Full, shouts out to you, bro. Capsule Full. All right, y'all saying Ben Israel, Sports Room, Fire Red. Let's go, George! Tris 805 said he was fighting for his destiny. Exactly. Not only that, that man missed time with his family, missed time with his young children, and lost a loved one, all in pursuit of greatness. And it shows you, man. People should take what George Kambosos did and look at that almost like this guy is the real life Rocky. He's almost the real life. It's a real life Rocky story. George Kambosos is a real life Rocky story. This man went, even though he was undefeated, from a completely unknown to on top of the world, just like that. And he lost a family member. He lost Mick. Even though his grandfather was not his trainer, he lost a Mick-like character in the pursuit of his greatness. He missed time with his Adrian in the pursuit of his greatness, and it only made him focus in even more and accomplish his goal, man. And it should let you know when you do focus in and you focus in completely, you can accomplish anything, man. When don't nothing distract you, when you are dialed in, you can shock the world too, man. You can shock the world your damn self, man. So I think I'm gonna end the third, man. It's been great, man, talking to y'all, man. It's been a wonderful weekend. Man, Louisville won the championship. Let's go Cards. Beat them boys down in the Bahamas. We got our butt whooped by Kentucky. But then I watched probably the greatest boxing match I've seen in the past, man, almost, man, I don't want to say 5 years, and I don't want to exclude what Pacquiao did, but at least the last three years, that's been the best boxing match I've seen, personally. I don't know what y'all think, but that fight was dope. Rodolfo Lopez, what's good, bro? What's up, man? What's good? Red, long time no see, man. I've been out here, bro. YouTube hides me from every once in a while from y'all. Which y'all gotta dig, man. Find me, look for me. If y'all ain't seeing my videos, man, y'all gotta look for me and make sure I'm still out here doing my thing. Keep me on my toes, bro. Tris 805, I appreciate you, Tris, man. You always bless the channel, man. Tris 805, man. He's always. I definitely, man. We gotta work together, man. We gotta do some work, man. Please, definitely. I gotta reciprocate what you done for me, bro. So if there's any type of way we can work together, whether it's you sending me some audio or you sending me a video that I can show on the live, whatever, bro. Just holler at me and let me know, man. I definitely want to work with you, man. Appreciate you, man. If y'all got something else to say, man, drop it in the comment, man. I gotta eat something and get out of here, bro. If not, man, I bid y'all adieu, man. L's up all day long. It's your boy Cardinal Red, man. Louisville, Kentucky, man. What was I banging? Oh, yeah, I gotta play some music before I get out of here. I gotta play some keys, some Lewis Keys, man. Shouts out to the boys, Lewis Keys. Rest in peace, man. Let's go, George! Let's go, George! Y'all know what it is. He whooped that boy. Let's go, George! 1, 5, 1, 2, 3. Alright, man, it's your boy Cardinal Red, and we are out of here.
Negative, okay, nothing further. Just,
All that seems to be on my mind is
Alright, 10-4,
All that seems to be on my mind is hustling.
negative, okay, nothing further. Just,
All that seems to be on my mind is
Alright, 10-4,
All that seems to be on my mind is hustling.
I just wanna touch a onion. She just want a couple hundred. I got mad and changed the subject. Then I got drunk and said fuck it. This is for my hustling niggas. This is for my hustling bitches. Pull up with that Aquafina. Yellow bone, her name is Tina. Tina like the hit casinos. Tina could snort a whole kilo. Tina like to fight and argue. Bye bye Tina, bitch, you argue. Met a dark skin chick named Anna. Anna like that marijuana. Anna was from the Bahamas. At least that's what she said. I assume she's honest. I apologize, Your Honor. I just wanted me some money. You can't tell these niggas frontin'. You can't tell these niggas nothing. 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 You can't tell these niggas nothing.
All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. All that seems to be on my mind is hustling.
This is for my hustling niggas. This is for my hustling niggas. This is for my hustling bitches. This is for my hustling bitches. Nigga, don't act so suspicious. Hustle hot as hell, but you swear they snitching. You don't wanna go to prison. You don't wanna go to prison. You don't wanna come up missing. You don't wanna come up missing. I just want a couple bitches. Put them in the ring, make a split decision. I'm trying to slow down with the sinning. I pray to God, no, he'll forgive me. Me and God had a discussion. He said, tell him. I said, you can't tell these niggas nothing. You can't tell these niggas nothing. You can't tell these niggas nothing. You can't tell these niggas nothing.
All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. All that seems to be on my mind is hustling.
In the streets, man, that's all we know. Get money on the late nights till we all get dope. The fans are riding in the daytime so we all get low. Yo, they trying to stop our show, stop us from copping home. Lock us down, ship us out, they really trying to stop our show. Go touch the pole, the faggots can't stop my road. 6 or 8, 7, 11, watch me knock the boat. I lock it low like pop and glow. Clean the streets of profit mode. Sit to the top, we go. Homie, spark one from your heat. Carlito, J, murder, spark one on the beat. We the brand makers, touch these haters, button the takers. They can't stop my raiders, we feeling like the Lakers. They can't stop the vapors, we creeping in for the capers. The feds is watching, trying to lock us down with the rapers. Here on, I see you later, till my hands is covering paper. I'm out on late nights, grinding, trying to cover April.
Still here, homie, popping collars on you snitches. You just can't read what we did to get these riches.
Late night, sold drugs, sold dice, no slugs, no rights, no grub, no rights, no
Still
love.
here, homie, popping collars on you snitches. You just can't dream what we did to get these riches.
Late night, sold drugs, no dice, no slugs, no lights, no grub, no rights, no love.
Street soldiers, plenty soda, chop always holding. Lead on with murder, dudes know when we pay for folding. Homicide without a motive, some pay him if you want one. We straight from the ghetto, the cutter 911's rolling. Cigarillos, everybody blowing stolen. 85% of the time you kill 'em, you bound to know 'em. So be careful where you show 'em, play your role like Odom. Cause homies be tripping when you're pitching like Nolan. Get the one, hit a quitter, jigger, freeze 'em like a pitcher. In my project, good and homies switching my position to fishing. Trying to make $1 million while you dudes tripping. Cutting in the fees, too much soda while you mixing. Make you swim with the fishes, or how you ripping current dishes. I'm grimy and malicious, dudes trying to take my position. On the caddy, new edition, gotta grind with intuition. Keep my secrets the deepest, stack my paper, complete the mission. Yeah, homie, popping collars on you snitches. You just can't dream what we did to get these riches.
Late night, sold drugs, sold dice, no slugs, no lights, no grub, no rights, no love.
Yeah, homie, popping collars on you snitches. You just can't dream what we did to get these riches.
Late night, sold drugs, no dice, no slugs, no lights, no grub, no rights, no
We
love.
say it's up, we retarded. Please don't get us started on the low. Just a couple counters, we nearly departed.
Wet that we carded, we out scraping the market. Y'all lane, jump at a park at the top, is what we target.
Cause these new low, we hit 'em like purple rope. Hooked up with the cousins, spark one, they like, oh no.
We got the fofo, lay low, get dough, sell out, get more, dip in a 6-4.
From a sucker city thugs, hold like money and drugs. Searching for connection, plugs like George Jefferson, moving up.
What? We play the cut, you funny, you getting stuck. The money is getting tough, we hungry, so give it up.
Still here, homie, popping collars on you snitches. You just can't dream what we did to get these riches.
Late night, sold drugs, sold dice, no slugs, no lights, no grub, no rights, no
Still
love.
here, homie, popping collars on you snitches. You just can't dream what we did to get these riches.
Late night, sold drugs, no dice, no slugs, no lights, no grub, no rights, no love.
It's your boy Lucas Keys, one wheel on the track. Skinny, what's up? Check it. Hey, love.
Cause my mama ain't home. I got bitches in the living room getting it on. Bitches in the living room getting it on. Bitches in the living room getting it on. They ain't leaving till 6 in the morning. 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 They ain't leaving.
I got a bottle of the clear, a bottle of the yak, a box of the blunts, a box of the blacks. My dude came through with a few of them sacks. All I need now is a few of them rats. Me and Slugs hopped off in the Caprice, riding up Market, trying to find a few freaks. Told Shorty we can watch some DVDs, baby. You ain't never seen that Louis Key street credit. Now we chillin' on the couch. Shorty got a little liquor spillin' on the blouse. Dub V brought a few thizzles in the house. Now none of the bras will shut they mouth. Turn up the music to drown them out. Cause I ain't tryna hear how you down and out. Took little mama down in the cellar. Said if I keep it low, she'll get me together.
Bitches in the living room getting it on. Bitches in the living room getting it on. Bitches in the living room getting it on. They ain't leaving till 6 in the morning. 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 They ain't leaving. My mama ain't home.
Well, back in the day when I was a teenager, I didn't have shit, a cell phone